Okay, so here's the first infographic I want to show you. Infographics have become quite popular these days, very good ways to convey some information. So this is one I found a while ago and really just like how it just sums it up. So first off, what is the flipped classroom? The flipped classroom inverts traditional teaching methods, delivering instruction online outside of class and moving the homework into the classroom. That's really the simplest way to kind of define it. Here's a good picture that kind of sums up what it is. Instead of the teacher being the sage on the stage, delivering lecture, which we all know has been done too frequently and is quite ineffective for delivering content. And it flips it to where the teacher's role is now the guide on the side. So instead of the kids sitting in the class, they are doing the activities or getting some individual attention or reteaching or guided practice. So here is what a flipped classroom model does. The students watch lectures at home at their own pace, communicating with peers and teachers via online discussions. The key part of this is at their own pace. Students can pause, rewind, watch the lecture as many times as they want. They can even watch it with their peers, with their parents, with their special educators or other support staff, so everyone's on the same page. That's probably the really powerful part of delivering the lecture on video versus in the classroom. The second part, the concept engagement, takes place in the classroom with the help of that would be the teacher, me, which is awesome because it gives more one-on-one contact with students, which increases engagement. Also, it prevents miscommunication. I can't tell you how many times I've had a student or a parent complain that they weren't in the classroom, so they didn't understand what was going on, and when they didn't have me there to help them at home, that was a problem. So now when the exercises or reinforcement activities are done in the classroom with the teacher, the expert, it's much easier to get those things accomplished and get those questions answered. Okay, so this is a little bit of the theoretical framework. We'll skip ahead. Here's how it came to be, which is a pretty interesting story, but in its infancy, there's two teachers that are really credited for starting this movement. Jonathan Bergman and Aaron Sams, both, I believe, chemistry teachers, high school chemistry teachers in Colorado. They discovered software to record their PowerPoint presentations back in 2007. They recorded and posted their live lectures online for students who missed class. The online lectures started spreading, they got quite popular, and then these two teachers have been asked to speak to teachers around the country about their methods, and so that's really how it kind of started growing. And the big thing to really point out at this point, they did it initially for students that missed lectures, and you know what, that's probably one of the other biggest positive reasons for doing this is because now a student, especially in our district, if they have some other activity or sports trip or of course due to illness, we can still deliver the content to them and they will not miss a beat. Just right now, with the first week of school, I have two students who have not showed up due to being at some kind of baseball camp, and they'll be gone for another week. Those students can still get the content that is being delivered in class. So from there, the teachers began using online videos and video podcasts to teach students outside class, reserving class time for collaborative work and concept mastery exercises. And this is the power of it right here. Okay, so what kind of drove this concept popularity? Two big things, two factors: poor learning outcomes, a high dropout rate, and here's the one that I've personally really have noticed, being kind of a technophile myself. The prevalence of online video has just literally exploded. The availability and increased student access to technology has paved the way for this concept to really happen and thrive. As we can see, just the growth there is huge. One thing I want to point out at this point here is, and to tell you the truth, even though those two teachers were credited for beginning the flipped concept, Khan Academy is a powerhouse. They have 2,400 online video lessons, and very polished and very well funded by the Gates Foundation. It's a non-profit organization. And even before I heard of flipped learning, I've heard about Sal Khan and his non-profit here, and a lot of teachers in our school, and I'm sure the high school as well, have already used Khan Academy quite a bit. Now, Khan Academy covers a lot of topics. It started out as math only, but they've moved to physics, finance, and history. Even, I believe, foreign languages. What I was kind of dismayed to learn, though, was the one area it seemed that they didn't cover was English language arts instruction. So that's kind of one of the things that initially prompted me to delve into this concept a little bit deeper. The other thing is, Khan Academy is not flipped learning, it's video instruction. So even though the lessons are high quality, they're missing the other essential component, which is the teacher in the classroom with that face-to-face contact. Okay, so what does flipped learning look like today? Many schools and classrooms have adopted the flipped classroom model. Here we look at one school in particular, which employed it to great success. This is just a case study of the typical school and the results. Let's see, teachers created 3 videos a week. Students watched 5 to 7 minute videos at home. That length is pretty key. Or in schools, they didn't have access to the internet at home. Class time was spent doing labs or interactive activities to illustrate the concepts. This is also where reteaching would happen. Some great benefits: students get instant feedback when they're doing the exercises or activities in class with the teacher. Boom, feedback happens right away. Students don't get as frustrated as they would at home if they were struggling on their own or with a parent who just hasn't done math in 20 years. And teachers can revisit the concepts that students don't understand. That's where reteaching happens in the class. So the video is almost like the pre-teaching and the actual teaching, and then the reteaching happens with the student in the classroom. Okay, and teachers support the students in class. Students who might not have technology or parents to help them outside of school now have teachers guiding them in class. The biggest part of this, the biggest benefit, is that there is more student-teacher contact time. Okay, so here's some of the results. Before the flip, 50% of freshmen failed English. Now I know that might not be as bad. This is Detroit. This isn't our district. And 44% of freshmen failed math. After the flip, it dropped dramatically. Only 19% failed in English and 13% failed in math. Not only that, there was a dramatic decrease in discipline cases. Huge, from 736 to 249. So even though this is not our school or our school district, these results, and I have researched these results, are mirrored throughout the country. And even though this concept is really just kind of no longer in its infancy, but it's certainly in its younger stages, its adolescence, if you will. And there have been overwhelmingly positive impacts. There have been 1 or 2 studies which kind of disputed some of the ways that this has worked in one school, but by and large, the results have been extremely positive.